our Facebook Live for our meeting that is in preparation for the first meeting in May, which will be our regular meeting. So, hi everybody. All right. So we have a couple things on the agenda prior to going over the our work session agenda, prior to going into our agenda for that board meeting. And we are graced today by our new look on your face, by our new Link executive. So Ian Basie has said he will come visit with us a little bit, introduce himself, so you'll have a face to go with a name and a job description. So, Mr. Basie, thank you and welcome to Starkville. I understand you are also a resident in Starkville.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're excited about that. So glad you chose to come our way. But please introduce yourself if you
Should
don't
I
mind.
sit?
Please do. Feel free to the board members. So.
Hi, I'm Ian Basie. I joined it's about 6 weeks ago. Joined the Link as the new Chief Executive Officer. And for one of a quick summary, I've been involved in economic development on the public and private side for over 30 years. More recently up in Oregon, where I was working with primarily with the Air Force, converting an Air Force base from F-15s to F-35, but also previously led the economic development group in South Texas, which is in Corpus Christi, and before that in Baton Rouge, where I was a competitor of the Link in this region for a number of years. I'm trying to get. I feel like I'm trying to get on a moving train right now, and you know, it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know until you get up to speed. But I've been doing a lot of listening and talking to folks and just trying to understand what the priorities are and the limitations and where we go from here. Traditionally, the Link has been involved in some of the very large industrial projects along the highway, and working in things like the steel plant and then the mega sites that are out there. But one of the areas that I'm seeing as an opportunity for the Link is to work more closely with Mississippi State, kind of transition from just the manufacturing jobs to how do we get those higher paying, knowledge-based, research type of jobs. And the university has been very gracious in working with us to help partner with us on that moving forward. So there's opportunities in defense, technology, automotive, supercomputing, and some other things that can provide value and high-paying jobs in this community. And then obviously we're working with your team on the North Star site, as well as some other projects that are in the area. Another piece that the Link really hasn't spent a lot of time in or leaned into is working with the military as a regional group. That's a huge military economic impact for the entire area, and people who work on base live all across the entire region, including in the city of Starkville. So we know that with the transition of types of aircraft that are coming to that Air Force base, we know that there's going to be several $1 billion in spending over the next probably next decade, I would imagine, as the T-7 comes online. Because you don't just fly one aircraft away. You have to replace repair and maintenance facilities. You have to replace simulator buildings, things like that. So those are some of the things that I've really been trying to get my arms around to understand the potential economic impact from some of those. And then the last piece of the puzzle, and this is something I saw a presentation a number of years ago and it kind of stuck with me, is that in economic development, we really are involved in planting trees that we will never sit under the shade of. Somebody come up with that, and I thought that's really a good kind of summary about what economic development does as we build infrastructure. So, I was running models about where our population growth as a region goes, and there's some models that only show 1%, 2% population economic growth over the next 5 years. But let's take let's put that aside and think about what would it be like if our economy and our population in the cities and the counties and the region as a whole, what happens if it grew 50% in 25 years? And then what are the things we have to do to get that? What are the infrastructure improvements that we have to start thinking about and incrementally improving water, sewer, the school system? And if we're going to be able to continue to grow and secure some of these high-paying jobs, where are we going to put those people? Let's say a 500 employee company shows up in one of the business parks somewhere. where would those people live, and what kind of stresses would it put on the school system? So almost kind of like project forward, this is a potential growth trajectory in 25 years, what's it gonna be like in 2050? And then what are the things we have to do collectively together? Because we've got 3 large cities working together in this region, 3 counties working together, and how do we kind of steer that and coordinate and collaborate among the entire region? Because, rather than competing internally, our competition isn't with each other. Our competition's with, other regions, other states, other countries even for major projects. So those are some of the things that I've been hearing. And the other thing I've been hearing on a consistent basis when I talk to folks is, especially folks of my generation and older, is there are folks that have to jump on a plane to go see their grandkids or go for the holidays. What are the things we can do as a community to make sure that the type of jobs are available, so when a kid graduates from high school or community college or the university, that they're the attractive jobs that are here for those folks, so they'll make a decision to stay. So those are some of the things that I've been thinking about and listening to from the community as I'm trying to get up to speed. So.
Any questions, Mr. Mason? Do you have any update? We've got 2 projects here.
Yes.
Project Jacket, I think is what they're calling it now. One time I thought they called it Spiral or whatever. And that one seems to be proceeding. Are you up on what the
Yes.
timeline on that is?
In a public setting, we're going to need to have an idea on the road improvements, and there's a wild card out there being the rail crossings that are involved in that. But our understanding is once those get settled by the probably third, some of it's in the public realm already, but the company needs to make a decision probably back end of this summer would be my understanding on it.
Okay. Well, I believe we are moving rather rapidly. I know that our city engineer is getting a number together today for the street element of that. So
Yeah.
that we'll be able to share that.
I mean, once we get the street number in, that'll go into, MDA's, the deal book,
Calculation,
the
yes.
black box where they perform the witchcraft and then they come up with how they're gonna value a deal, so.
Okay, all right, well, I appreciate that. Well, if there are no questions, I just want to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to see you, visit with you, hear from you, so thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank
All
you.
right.
It's nice to meet everyone.
Thank you.
All right. And then next we have a presentation by Stacy Harmon, who, bless her heart, showed up at 10. Somebody gave her the wrong time. I had to send her on her way.
Or I wrote it down.
Oh, well, that's
No
okay.
time.
And so she's going to make a presentation for us on an opt-out program for the Power of Change program that we already have implemented that would benefit our community. So Ms. Harmon, you go right here, or Dr. Harmon actually is.
There are
more
lots of
accurate.
titles,
You
Stacy's
go right
fine.
ahead.
But thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Board, for inviting me to come back to you again to talk about how the Power of Change program is going. We have really enjoyed working with Edward Kemp, and he has been fantastic out there. We hosted an energy workshop at Trinity on Wednesday night, and I always learn something, so please go to these things. They're fantastic. So what happened is we rolled out the Power of Change program. We tried this for a quarter. It is my understanding that we had 31 people opt in to have their utility bill raised to the next dollar. So just a snippet there is that means less than $12 for a whole year. You can you opted in to have your bill raised no more than $12 for a whole year, but it helps the people in the community. I'm kind of wearing 2 hats today. One is Starkville Community Foundation that restarted the Helping Hands of Octavia County. So through that program, we hosted at Trinity Presbyterian. So I'm now the pastor there. So that's a little blurry, but I come to you wearing both hats. And so in that program, we help 5 people a week. And I brought before you the last time our vetting process that we do. We try to keep it simple. Here a snapshot of what's going on in their lives to create the trouble where the output and the input don't meet. And that has been successful. Starkville Community Foundation puts in the first $15,000 for that. St. Joseph's Catholic Church puts in $650 a month for that. And the Episcopal Church of the Resurrection gives us the benefits from their Oktoberfest, which is very fun, so thank you for supporting that. And then Trinity puts in money as well. So those are our major donors to it, and we just shut it down when we run out of money because that's all we can do. And each week we help 5 people, so that's $1,250 a week. So if we run the program year-round, 52 weeks, that's $65,000. So you can tell by those numbers I just threw out there, that's not enough. But in this first quarter that we ran it, these are our numbers. We paid, oh, I can't see my percentages. They might be at the bottom. Can you scroll down, maybe? They should be at the bottom.
That's the bottom.
Oh dear. Okay. Anyway, Starkville Utilities received 57% of the monies we've paid out this year, and that's $10,233.73. And then you can see how it goes down from there. I do work directly with Child Protective Services, so if there's an odd request in there, we help get people into safe homes. So there's a hangout,
I was gonna ask, is that rent?
that was rent for that one. But anyway, we have changed all these things. Edward and I keep talking about how we're gonna dovetail the program. So it just goes to Starkville Utilities, and I'm also trying to work with Fort County with how we can get there around, because they have an opt-out program too, and they do different things with their funds. So I'm trying to talk to Fort County as well. But Starkville Utilities gets the majority of our money right now. So with doing the opt-in program, we had 31 people. Many of you are around this table right now who supported the program, so thank you. That generated $2,300, and that's not even 2 weeks worth of help. So if we could move to an opt-in program, an opt-out program, then that creates the flow that we need.
And you're saying that's what Fort County has as an opt-out?
They do have an
They have an
opt-out program.
opt-out.
They said that they had maybe 12 people call to opt out. I personally would like to know who was the grumpy person that called and said, I don't want to pay $12 a year to help people, but,
And
you know.
let's not say $12 a year, because you've got to be the most unlucky person on the face of the earth for your bill to always be 1 cent over. So
Right.
more likely you're talking about 5 to 6 years
Right.
of dollars a year.
$5 to $6 a year.
25 cents one month, 75 cents another month. That's really the more realistic range. But when you use that force multiplier of all the accounts that are out there, that becomes a really meaningful amount that can help people who are struggling with utility bills.
Right. Starkville Utilities has done a great job doing an active, program to push this power of change. So since the 31 that were at the beginning of the year, we now have 50, but that still generates about $650 a month, which doesn't even cover 1 week of helping people.
And 1 week is 5 people.
1 week is 5 families.
And did y'all select 5 as just your number to help, or is?
Just budgeting, just
Yeah.
based on
They
that.
got it, and they have different dollar
Oh,
needs.
we field 300 calls a week. My phone is blowing up right now from Fridays are really bad,
Yeah.
and people are desperate, and it's just a hard season, I think, for everybody with prices going up. And that's what we decided we could help. We have had conversations about decreasing the amount we pay so that we could help more people, but in reality, when people bring us their electric bills, they're typically around $200. So with capping it at $250, that helps. That takes care of the bill. That takes one thing off of them. We have moved to where we do not help with rent at all. And that's a complicated topic I can talk about, but I just wanted to try to keep it simple to show you what we're doing with the money and how it is coming back to Starkville Utilities. And if they are in support of this being an opt-out program, I would ask that the board be in support of that so that we can then really sit down and talk about how we can make sustainable changes in people's lives.
Well, and the opt-out piece of it is those monies that are going from Starkville Utilities will go for Starkville Utilities.
Right.
Yes, they go.
Right. Right, we're gonna
circles right back
create,
to
right,
Starkville Utilities.
right, but it also
Yeah.
could create, like, we have people who come in and they've had a water leak, or we've had a water leak, you know, and they have to then pay for the plumbing. So if we could get creative with those funds, that would go back to Starkville Utilities to help fix whatever the problem is that's causing the spike in bill. That's just one possibility that I see as a way that we could use those funds, because they,
And I think that depends on how much is generated through
Right,
the program.
right.
I think the first and most immediate need would be helping Starkville utility customers with utility bills.
Right.
And if over time that grows, if it's a larger number than we were anticipated, or for some reason the demand for that need goes down, then you can, like you said, look at other things that can be done. And I think that's what Fort County has done with a lot of theirs, is fund grants for various projects. But it's early days, and the question would be, do you want to do the opt-out program or not?
so my main ask is, could we please do the opt-out program so that we'd have a chance to help more families?
And what does it take? Is it just for the board to approve an opt-out program? Is that all it takes for us to do from your perspective, Edward?
Yes, ma'am, just authorization to change that on the billing side. We think it's probably a 2 to 4 week process to go through reprogramming in the billing to essentially change that. Obviously, if the board chooses that, we would want to communicate it out to all the customers with sufficient amount of notice, and then just do our training for our own personnel. So I'm thinking we could probably activate it in a couple of months, or so.
So, and it's not on this agenda, but I think probably with Stacy making the presentation, this is something could you work up an agenda item and a cover sheet real quick so that Joanna could insert it
Sure.
into the agenda? Okay, is we willing to consider that?
So in other words,
Hold it on.
you can pay what you want in. If you want to, you can put more than $1 in if you
Oh,
want to.
yeah.
Some
If you
of
wanted
us,
to, you
some of
could,
us have
yeah.
done that.
Yeah, well, some of us have done that.
And a lot of the questions I get that Edward and Rachel and I have talked about are, if they're on an automatic draft, how they get and do it. And so this would alleviate, I think a lot of people want to support it. I think they just are having trouble figuring out how to.
And that's been my experience in talking with people about the program. And Utilities has done a great job of pushing it out on social media and other ways, but we all know that no matter how hard you try, not everybody hears what you're trying to tell them. But a lot of the people that I've talked to were either unaware of the program, weren't clear about how they would opt into the program. I think people who don't want to support it will quickly find a way to opt out. It's just how we feel as people. So.
Would it be just a phone call to opt out, or just something like that?
Phone call, email,
Easy.
or they can do it themselves through Smart Hub.
Okay, sure, okay. So let's put that on the, Joanne, you good with that? Edward, you good with working up a real quick agenda item?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, so we'll see that added to the agenda, and we'll put that under more business. Okay, all right.
Thank you so much for letting me come speak. Are there any questions?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay,
we don't, I did not being dismissive,
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
it's fine.
Anybody have any questions of Dr. Parvin? Anything further? Okay.
So there's real possibility that by the time if the board approves this, that by the time we hit summer high utility bills, that there will be monies available to help a lot more people. And
You think July, Edward?
I think July is a realistic timeline.
Okay.
and I would envision the utilities department escrowing this, transferring it over periodically to the foundation.
And I would like a subcommittee that's really looking at how we do this realistically to help people, not just be a Band-Aid. We started this in conjunction with Starkville Strong so that we would be the Band-Aid and they could walk with people out of poverty. And the need is just great. So, yeah.
Well, we can work on as long as we get the consensus on the program support,
Yep.
then we can work through the details of what happens with the actual dollars as we begin to see what that means.
Sure.
Okay. All
Sounds
right,
good.
thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
Appreciate you being
We
here.
appreciate all your good leadership.
All right.
That goes for everybody in the room.
Okay, well, and Ian, you do not have to stay if you don't want to. I didn't mean to leave you
No,
hanging
no.
there, dear. No, we were just
I'm
gonna
actually
go.
happy,
Okay,
but
well,
I'll
you're
sneak up
welcome
in a few
to
minutes.
stay or you're welcome to go. Entirely up to you. All right, so guys, let's go to our, agenda for May 5th. So we have first a couple sets of minutes. Mr.
Good.
Hutchinson, Ms. McLaurin, all good? So we put those on consent?
Second.
Okay, and then I wanted to mention under mayor's comments won't matter on Tuesday for this, but I'm gonna put myself a note so that I can mention for today, tomorrow is Touch a Truck. So that will be at Sutter, it goes from 10 to 2. We've got all of our departments participating to, be able to have the fire department, the police department, et cetera. They do have, I think,
Very
3.
popular sanitation.
The sanitation department, that's right. We've got 3 hours of quiet time and apparently 1 hour of noise. So if you end up with 1 hour of noise, I suggest earplugs for you because it is noisy. But
What time?
10 to 2
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. And that's at Sutter. In fact, one year they had a helicopter. I don't know if they've managed a helicopter again this year or not, probably depending on the weather. But anyway, it's a really wonderful event and it's gotten to be hugely successful over the years. So anyway, just a note of something going on tomorrow. And then, tournaments, we got, baseball, but depending on the weather, whether or not it'll make maybe.
We're playing.
Okay, all right, well, and I say that because I think there are thunderstorms tomorrow, so it may or may not, but.
It's kind of a grudge match for my son's team.
Okay.
They said we're playing.
All right, good, y'all go for it. All right, well, having said that, unless there's something else that we want to highlight that won't be relevant on Tuesday, we will move on. So we will have the, one public hearing on, this is a variance, Mr. Haviland can give us a little
Yes.
bit of an update on
This
this.
is a pretty straightforward variance request for extra height on a fence that they're proposing to do. Board of Justice of Appeals heard the case and they voted 6-1 to approve.
Okay, all right, so obviously we're having a public hearing on that one, this is on Gillespie Street.
Yes.
And it's a side fence.
It's a side fence in the backyard. They want to go 9 feet instead of 8.
Yeah.
So it's just a 1-foot variance.
Yeah, okay.
Do we normally do that?
Not very common we get one. Most people have 8 feet enough, but they had some specific reasons in their request that I'll present on Tuesday.
They have some things that need to be shielded from view, so that's the reason for the request. Okay, all right, thank you very much. And then we have a resolution for a lien where we did a cleanup at 12900 Mississippi Highway 182. Consent for that one?
Second.
All right, thank you. And then the non-binding resolution to adopt and allocate funds for the fitness court. This is kind of working on this, you want to talk about it?
Sure, the fitness court is an outdoor exercise area, fitted out with an assortment of equipment. There's a small grant, it requires a fairly substantial amount to actually build the court out. It is a non-binding grant in that if we have not secured enough exterior funding to make it viable by mid-October, we would just say we appreciate the
Thanks,
attempt.
but we can't get there.
But it's not working for us this year. There are 2 possible locations for the grant. One is at J.L. King Park and one is at McKee Park. And if we were somehow to manage to raise a good bit of money, we could do one at each of the parks. They're starting to pop up in various places around the state now. Oxford is doing one this year. Jackson is doing one.
Okay.
And this is a 60-year-old program, this National Fitness Campaign.
It's just now popping up with us?
Well, we're pretty slow in Mississippi.
Okay, all right, so, consent for that one? Okay. All right, and we'll put the opt-out program, but since it's not on the agenda now, we'll just move that one along and take it up on Tuesday, and if somebody wants to put it on the consent agenda at that time, they can do that. All right, so engineering, Mr. Burnett? Oh, there you are, okay. You want to help go over some of this?
I'll be happy to. The first one is for professional services for East Lee. This is a task order survey. And then item, actually, I can jump down. Item 2 is also for East Lee. So what this is some preliminary work for hopefully our next transportation alternative ask. That's the MDOT grant, we give it out every year. And we're looking at East Lee to provide a better pedestrian light connection. If you were to count feet in the community, that street probably has the most feet anywhere. And with the new high school coming online, we're trying to master plan all the way from campus up to the new high school to make a connection. Probably can't build it all at once, but we can bite it off in chunks. And so this gets the survey data, and it helps us develop a concept design on where everybody should be.
This is a share with MSU, right? Because it touches MSU,
That's
they want to
right.
share with us. So that would be one of those partnership, shared opportunities that we've used in the past.
And this is not a grant request, these are just some, this is an actual cost saving to get this out of the way early.
Okay,
So
can we
just wanted
consent
to-
for those two?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Consideration of task order for Neil Schaefer on a survey for Jackson Street.
I'll probably let Chris cover this one.
Okay, Chris?
So this is the Main Street Association, the grant that they got for $500,000. This is to do the survey, to be able to do the engineering work for it. Depending on our workload, we'll try to do the design in-house. And then we went ahead, this survey goes all the way down to Lampkin and kind of takes care of the T as well. Since we have two projects, they're on the southern end, they're looking at hitting pretty soon as far as development pressure. So overall, trying to make it where we can design our street lighting for the whole corridor
Okay.
for that piece.
Okay.
So this survey will serve probably 2 to 3 projects.
Yeah, and this is really exciting, guys, because we're watching our downtown transform itself in our ability to go underground with utilities, or certainly to make it more business friendly and development friendly. And I think these are real opportunities, so. Can we do consent for that one? All right. Then summary change order for the bus stop and $425. That's, I don't know if we can afford that. So we could do consent for that one? All right, thank you. And then, next one, Cody?
Okay. So.
Was that one you too? I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I was taking
Go
care
ahead.
of this one, we're having on that one. So this is for, the Spring Street North, so this project runs from Chick-fil-A to Russell Street along Spring. The sidewalk that we're trying to build as far as the TA grant, so this is the phase 3 of that project. To get the sidewalk in, we have to redo the driveways to have a flat sidewalk to meet ADA. Now we have to go into private property and be able to get a temporary construction easement. And so with that, you have to follow all the federal guidelines and the federal rules. And so this company specializes in the temporary easement. So even though they're just temporary construction easements, you still have to follow all the rules like you're buying property from them. And so there's a lot of detailed requirements for that to make sure that you follow the correct rules.
Okay, well, this will be critical because we've got some residents there that are gonna need to have access into their property in a way that doesn't create a problem for them. So, all right. Consent for that one? All right. And then I love this one. This is the precision concrete cutting to remove the areas of the sidewalks that are trip hazards on these places. And we did it last year. We'll continue to do it in the years to come, just as a planned program. So consent for that one? Right. And we'll move past the claims docket, HR. So this is the program with the kids, with the high school kids. I think those are just, for whatever reason, those just tickle the heck out of me. Particularly since we hired a high school person who then became an employee. So, consent for these, this is, let's see, I'm sorry?
I looked at them.
Did you?
Well, I have a question about 3, because 3 has got 2 of the Starkville High School, but then it's got 1 intern. Is that the project piece intern for HR, or is that just another intern?
That's the college, regular HR intern.
That's a budgeted intern
Yes,
position.
ma'am.
Does it
To
need
replace-
to be
It doesn't need to
It
be
does,
separate,
okay.
but I tell you what, next time we do it, let's do it. Not that it necessarily will happen this year, but next time we do it, let's divide those up so that there's a clarity to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, consent for that. And then we have hiring a police officer, pre-academy, and then a code enforcement officer. So, ready for another code enforcement officer, I'm excited about that. Consent for that, okay? And then, what are we down, the community learning center grant interns for utilities, consent for those? Okay. And then, another consent, another intern opportunity, so consent for that one. All right, Jack Miles to Chief Water Treatment Operator and Starkville Utilities. These were combined in the original agenda that y'all received, but we split them out for clarity again. wastewater treatment and water treatment. So you've got both utilities, but in this case, one's a water treatment operator promotion, and this is to an existing, where do you go? Existing position.
Existing position, both of these are.
Promotion, okay, consent for that one. And then wastewater treatment operator class, and that's a hire, and that is a position that needs to be filled.
Open position.
Okay, all right, consent for that one? Okay. Then parks, we've got, this is going to be our July 4th show, and this is the 250th anniversary, so I actually have asked Mr. Otis to take a look and see, what the order of magnitude of the next size up of fireworks, just because it's a celebration year. I have not heard back from him, but this at least allows us to move forward with pyro shows for this level, which is the same one we've done for years. So consent for that one?
Consent.
All right, thank you. And then sole source quote, again, precision concrete cutting, and this is for the trip hazards that are developed at Cornerstone. Consent? Okay. Utilities. Mr. Kidd, we're not off the book yet. Sole source quote for CCTV for the cable because it was damaged.
It is in need of replacement.
Right, and apparently they have fairly short lives.
It's about a 3-year-old, so it's probably just a routine repair replacement.
All right, consent for that one? All right, bids for construction of well number 9 and re-advertise. It came in, what were we expecting and what was the difference?
It was almost double what we were expecting.
Okay.
So and it had a very aggressive timeline to try to meet this calendar year. After discussion with those contractors and their current workload, we're recommending to push it, to give more time. So looking at middle to end of 2027, we feel good from a production capacity standpoint based on the improvements we made on our existing well run times. There's a graph of that in your packet. And they're currently, as we speak, working on Curry Well.
Yay.
Right now, and we hope to have that back online and in full service production in the next week or two. So that is, again, going to lower our overall well run time. Again, this project, well number 9, will be a priority for us, but there may not be as quite of a highest sense of urgency from a timeline standpoint. So we're just really looking at trying to time the project with contractor availability.
Okay, and this is also one of the projects that we proposed to our legislator about assisting us with, so. All right, consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay. Amending the grass maintenance agreement for everyday land management, that's to cut a little more frequently in a couple of, or several of the areas, so consent for that one. All right, this is your basic surplus, and apparently this mower's been sitting out there for forever, so it's time for us to do a little cleanup, so Mr. Kemp, kudos on you for that, so consent for that.
Consent.
Software renewal licenses, you want to share something about that in particular, Edward? Anything?
This is just our software that we use for all of our system maps for both electric and water, just a renewal of that.
Okay, all right, consent for that one. And then the ever-present source of supply, so consent for that one.
It feels like we did that.
I know, tell me about it, all right. And we have nothing for executive session, so that should complete unless there's something else on the board. We're good to go. So everyone have a great weekend. I hope your great matches. And the alderman that just left the room has a birthday tomorrow, so y'all remember to wish her happy.